Hi, welcome, and welcome back. My name is Beth from Ink Art by Beth Cluth. This is an update to my original video about alcohol inks on sublimation blanks. And I got a lot of great comments and questions. Again, this is not using alcohol inks to actually do sublimation printing. That is a very specific type of printing that doesn't even use alcohol inks. I just wanted to share what I found out when I actually applied alcohol inks to the blanks that are made for sublimation printing. So they have some type of a coating on them, a sublimation coating it's called. It could be ceramic, it could be, I don't have any in my earrings here. It could be wood, it can be metal, and so there's a lot of different surfaces. I like to make ornaments with alcohol inks on ceramic or porcelain and also on metal, but the problem is that they scratch really easily. And I found that when you put the alcohol inks on a sublimation blank, it gives it sort of a scratch resistant coating. It's not scratch proof, but it's scratch resistant. Usually when you scratch, you're going to get down to white, so you're going to see a big white mark through your design. On these, and I'll show a little closer later, you can sort of see like a little scuff, but it does not scratch the ink off. So yeah, in the original video I showed sort of comparison to a ceramic tile, to the ornaments I bought. Now I recently bought some sublimation blank square, you can call them coasters. They're ceramic square sublimation blanks, which could be used as coasters. And I also, what else did I get? I guess that's the only thing new since the last video. And I sort of wanted to compare them because the surfaces aren't exactly the same. The ceramic ornament I got and the ceramic coaster I got are not exactly the same. So not all sublimation blanks are created equal either. And I wanted to just do a couple little quick tests. Water on them, heat, and also just like if you were going to put a mug on it, that kind of the scratching like that. So let's get into it. The ornament sublimation blanks that I got are round. The ones that I am using are just glossy on one side. And you can sort of see, even though they're glossy, they have a little bit of a texture to them, right? You can see that. And then on this back, it's not even glossy. It's just the matte bisque. So these are just one-sided. You can get them with the sublimation coating on both sides. I just happened to get the ones with the one. And so what I wanted to do was just sort of do a little bit of a test. People were asking, would water affect these? And so I just wanted to spray a little water on these. The water just beads up. Normally, water does not react with alcohol inks because alcohol inks are not water-based. But I just wanted to put it on there, smush it around, sort of rub it around on the paper towel. I don't see anything. There's no difference in the surface. Now on the back side, if the water will soak into the bisque, but it would eventually dry up. I recently now purchased some of these sublimation blanks. They are square ceramic, so they can be used as coasters if you want. In fact, they even come with the cork backing, which when I saw it when it came out, this is so thin. I thought, this is garbage. I probably am going to have to go get other cork. But actually, I put the cork on the back of this one. It sticks really well. I mean, the adhesive is really nice, and it is the perfect thickness. You don't really need it very thick. So that worked out well. So this one, again, it's matte bisque on the back. It's a glossy, and look, you can see, I'm going to get this, I want to get there. Look at, there's hardly any texture. I mean, it is glossy. It's also glossy on the edges, which is really nice. I know on some, this is a regular tile from like Home Depot. They have this back like this because you want to have the adhesive that you're going to put the tile down with to be able to get into these like nooks and crannies and things. And then it even has sort of like little divots and things that stick out on the sides so that the tiles stick together better. So you have to like paint these because the edges are not glossy, and when the ink goes over the edge it looks very sloppy. So you really have to paint them with, I did this one in black Sharpie marker, but you really need to like clean up those edges. These sublimation blanks, they just have a perfectly smooth back so that you can attach that cork. And again, the surface is like super slick. A little bit different than, I'm going to put this one on top of here and see if I can get them both in the shot with the glare at the same time. I don't know if you can just see the difference. This is almost like an orange peel kind of texture. This is very glossy. So I wanted to see, like, is it going to act any different? This is a coaster that I did just using paintbrushes going across, and this is a coaster that I did just blowing, with a straw. They both dried, I would say, they do dry a little slower on these sublimation blanks, so that's one thing. But eventually they do dry. It's just like it's a little bit slower than regular ceramic. And the one other thing I found is that because the sides are glossy, I had a lot of ink that went over the edge, and I thought, well, maybe I have to paint the edge. But you don't, because if you just take a piece of paper towel or napkin and put a little blending solution on the corner there. There's an edge I didn't clean up really well, so a little green on there. It wipes right off. It wipes right off to clean, to white. Really nice edge. Don't have to paint it. I love that. And I was wondering if it came off that easily off the side, could I wipe this clean? Because that was one of the questions I got from somebody. Regular ceramic tiles, that's one of the reasons we like to practice on them. You can just wipe them back to white. So I thought I'm going to test it. And I'll just put a little bit of blending solution on here. Or you could use alcohol. And look at that. It does wipe back to white. Whoop. That's me smushing that color around. But look at that. So just like ceramic tile, you can get back to white, which is really nice. That's something that wasn't working very well for me on these ornaments. Let me get one that can easily just try to wipe it back. So here's an ornament. I put the inks on. Nothing to write home about. First of all, let me just see if I can get the edges clean. The edges do not clean back to white on these ornaments. It's going to be stained. So that's one thing. I'm going to see if I can even get any of the ink off the front. Let that blending solution just sort of like attack the inks. Ooh, well, that actually worked pretty well. I thought it was going to be more stained. I guess as long as you are working on the glossy part that has the sublimation coating on, you can wipe back to white. So here's a question answered. When I was working on one of my previous ornaments, when I tried to get it all off, it did not all come off. So it might be color by color too. Different colors will come off more easily. All right. So I wanted to just test out some things with like the water test on these. So I'm just going to spray them with water. Let's say you are using them as a coaster. Just going to let that water sit on there a little bit. Smush it around. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to wipe it on this paper towel. No colors coming off. Like this one. And a little bit of the red is coming off. I don't notice a difference in on the surface here, but it almost looks like a little bit of the red is coming off with water. And one thing I already tested on this one that you can probably see is if you put a mug on it, and again, people aren't going to be, it's not going to be like, oh, there we go. I mean, it's going to clink around, or they might get scratched a little bit. You are going to see scuffs and scratches. And scuffs are one thing, you know, where it doesn't go all the way back down to white, but there are some places here where it's scratched all the way back down to white. So as far as a use as a coaster, you may have to do some additional coatings on this, which is what I'm trying to get away from. But it definitely holds up better than your regular Home Depot ceramic tile. Because this one I even sprayed with a couple coats of Kmart and UV, and it's still scratching. All right. On this one downstairs, I didn't bring a hot cup of coffee, but I did put a heated cup on here. The heat did not seem to affect the color at all, the ink at all, or anything. It was more the scratching of the bottom of a cup along the top of the coaster. All right. So when you're looking for sublimation blanks, you want to, and I have links to some of the different ones that I've tested or that I've been using in the description of this video. But when you go online and you start to look around, you want to look for the word ceramic or porcelain. That's how you know you're going to get something made of clay, right? A lot of time it'll just say sublimation blank. You have to go and look and see what is the material, because it might be wood, it might be metal. Again, most of the metal sublimation blanks that I've come across, in fact, I ordered some ornaments, round ornaments like this. They're metal though, and white. I haven't received them yet, but it says that they're metal. Most of the jewelry, not templates, most of the jewelry sublimation blanks, let me just go find mine. Okay, so I found my jewelry blanks. These are wood. And so in the description, it might say MDF instead of wood. And they're really pretty thick. They're at least a 1/4 inch, yeah, they're probably between 1/8 and a 1/4 inch thick, but they're still very lightweight. But they do have some depth to them. And those are the ones that usually they come with a film on both sides that you have to peel off. That's in my original video if you want to take a peek at that. So these, as far as water, somebody had mentioned, you know, like I can spray water on these. I don't think it's going to do anything to the inks. No. Nope. Doesn't do anything to the inks. But I'd be careful about getting too much water, especially on this edge, because that's raw wood. The surface here, the water's not going to do anything, but I just wouldn't want these to get really wet because that is wood and it could soak up water. I don't know how much it would actually, you know, if it would, you know, blow up or if it would warp or whatever, but it's not going to affect the ink design, but it might affect the material itself because it is wood. And they do make ornaments in different shapes with the sublimation that are made of wood. So just make sure that if you're looking for ornaments and you want ceramic, make sure it says ceramic or porcelain or clay, and it doesn't say MDF, because that means they're going to be wood. What else? Oh, I did find, and I'm going to put the links in the description again of the video below. There are certain products you can buy They're from a company called Subliglaze. It's a clear sublimation coating. It's a spray. So if I had a surface that I wanted to give a coating to so that it was more scratch resistant, I could spray my own pieces instead of buying the sublimation blanks. However, I don't really think there's too much difference between the actual, regular ceramic and the sublimation blanks themselves. So, and the spray can be quite expensive. And depending what surface you're going to use that spray on, you might have to use an adhesion promoter. So I do have some metal pieces. They're sort of odd shaped that I was thinking of using for earrings, and I've put inks on them. They look really pretty, but they scratch off really bad. So I am going to get some of that adhesion promoter. It's from Subliglaze. And then that's a brush on, and then I'm going to spray it with a clear sublimation glaze and see if when I ink those pieces, once they've been, protected like that, if the inks are more scratch resistant than they were before. So this is all a big sort of experiment and testing for me as well. Again, if you didn't see the original video, I will put that description or that link in the description below as well. And if you're trying anything with different types of sublimation blanks or different products for sublimation printing, please, let me know. Put a message in the comments or reach out to me on Facebook. I would love to hear because I think we can all help each other as we just gain a little more knowledge about these new products. And I think as sublimation printing becomes more and more popular, there are going to be more and more types of blanks like this that we can keep testing and trying, and hopefully it just makes our lives easier. So that's all I have for you right now. Happy inking, and I will see you next time.